Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that I am one of those singles that Jayesh introduced to you in his first proposition statement speech. I'm a very conservative and traditional man. I believe in love. I believe in love at first sight. I believe in meeting, your true love somewhere in your school or office. But being a typical Singaporean, I also think that economic considerations are important. Before I marry my girlfriend, I'm going to think, can I get a flat for us? Can I actually move out of my parents' house? Right? I love my mom and my dad to bits, but if I'm going to be nearing the age of 30, I kind of want my own place as well. And this is the group of people do you want to pander to? Because the reality of the situation here is that there's a scarcity of resources, scarcity of land, and scarcity of HDBs, right? Government property that the government has subsidized and built for certain specific social purposes. So what do we talk to you about today, right? We said many things. First, in my speech, I introduced the idea that marriage is a social good. And I brought you 2 points, right? The first point, that it induces stability, and secondly, that it gives you a support system, right? Then Robin further buttressed this idea by talking about how the economic considerations in place would then naturally incentivize couples to get married. And that was the whole overarching aim of our policy. What else did we talk about again? We talked about why it's justified for the state to use HDB to engineer certain social ends, right? I gave you several ideas under this point. We talked to you about firstly, why, first there's no right to property and therefore it has to be subordinate to status imperatives. Secondly, because the state has subsidized this, we think that the state has every right to use it to achieve certain social goals. And thirdly, that the state has no obligation to use state resources to help you actualize your conception of the good life. Then what did Robin do? Robin further added on, right, substantives on our side of the house. He talked about how these young singles who are economically powerful and upwardly mobile will inflate prices and price out the people you yourselves, alongside government, are trying to help. He also talked about why it's important for married couples to be anchored with their own flat and why we need to prioritize them. So what were the responses coming from the other side? It was nice, right? Jayesh came out and said, guys, there's no scarcity. By the time Arun came about, he said, no, but we can have a compromise, right? We can wait for about 3 months. Like, we're fine with that. Obviously, an inherent concession to this problem of scarcity to begin with. Moreover, right, what did they argue? They said, guys, come on, you can plan ahead. Jurong has a lot of land. Firstly, right, our first response is that, we love the PAP, but they're not magicians. You kind of need land to build houses, right? And recognizing that we're a small island, we don't have that land. Moreover, we talk about the scarcity of HDB flats and why we need to use those to serve specific purposes. Because people don't have the right to own governmental property and we need to use that to engineer our aims. Moreover, we talked about, we highlighted that they wanted to give preferential allocation anyway if the problem of scarcity arises, right? And here's why it's a concession. Because they are inevitably privileging certain people anyway. They're doing it by chance. We're doing it for certain intangible reasons, right? That's why ours was better. Then we go on to the second idea, the young people. Right? They said, young people have a fundamental right. And we had several responses to this. Firstly, we said, you don't have a right to property. Secondly, right, but nonetheless, we still a lower rent and we allow you to actually get these places anyway, so you're not left out in the cold. Secondly, we talked about how it's good for them to be mobile and to move around. We think they shouldn't be held down to one place. Third, right, we talked about how they will outprice other people who we are trying to help. And lastly, they had no right to governmental resources and they had no obligation to have such conceptions actualized. Like the fundamental question at the end of the debate, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple, right? The only harms that they've highlighted is that, we've taken away certain fundamental rights from certain people in our society. We understand that's a problem, right? But we don't think it's a major problem. The Singapore government has managed to achieve a nice balance, like balancing the interests of singles, married couples, and still attracting our fine government team here to help our country. We don't think that you need to upset that balance. It's fine. If that's the only harm they can stand for, then clearly we win this debate.
Yeah.